everybody and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I thought I would do a little bit of a review, first impression of the new Anastasia Beverley Hills Soft Glam palette. I feel like now we've seen so many amazing palettes in the beauty industry. Like there is so many incredible brands and they come out with so many products all of the time that there is not a lot which I see which I'm completely wowed by. Like there are some standout products which I see and I think, oh my god, I have to have that, like, that's amazing. And when I saw this was completely one of them for me. I saw it and I thought, oh my god, I have to try it. Like it just looked incredible. So without a doubt in my mind, I knew I was going to have to film a video on it, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing today. So the palette looks like this, and as I said, it's called the Soft Glam palette. It's called the Soft Glam palette, and it's just got that same kind of design as all of her palettes do. It's got that suede material. I'm gonna say I'm not mad on the suedeness. Like my other palettes that I've got from her are absolutely filthy. Like they are completely covered in foundation fingers, and like when I put my finger in to like get a really good pigment off a colour, like my palettes are just completely wrecked. So I'm not a massive fan of the suede, so I do wish that they would change that to something else. But saying that, it does look nice. So the shades which it's got, I've obviously already used these because I've just filmed this makeup look. So this is what the shades look like. It's just a really nice selection of warm, neutral shades, perfect for that kind of everyday makeup or soft glam as they say on the name of the palette. But it's like perfect for me for everyday makeup. When I saw this I was like, oh my god, I just know that that's going to be the palette which I take everywhere with me. And what I really love about this palette is the fact it's got Tempera, which I think is in the Modern Renaissance palette, which is great for setting before you actually start blending any eyeshadows on top. But it's also got like a black as well. When I saw that, when I opened it up and I saw that it had that, I was just like, oh my god, this has done it for me, because there's just not that many palettes at the moment which do that, where the shades are actually like good, if you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of palettes which have blacks in, but when I use the blacks I just find them absolutely rubbish. So when I saw that this had a black in, and I just knew because it was from Anastasia Beverley Hills that it was gonna be good, I was so excited. And then like the more I looked into the palette I was like getting even more excited, because it's obviously got all those beautiful warm transition shades which are really fashionable at the minute, but it's also got this beautiful neutrally dark brown which I am obsessed with. It's my new favourite dark brown, like even more than Makeup Geek Americano. That's like my favourite. That's not really a neutral brown, but that's my favourite matte brown. I just love it. But I think this might be like even more of my favourite. And then I love that it's got the shimmers as well. It's literally got everything. So as you can see, it's got like the warm tones, but it's also got these rosy tones as well, which makes it super great for travelling. Because if you ever go anywhere and you're like, I mean, for me, I'm normally a more golden-y type person, so it's got all those shades for that as well. But if one day you feel like just doing something really light and pretty and pink and that sort of thing, they're in there too. So for me, this is just the perfect everyday palette. So like all of the Anastasia Beverley Hills palettes, it is £43, which is obviously a little bit more than you would spend on maybe some other brands, but for me they are completely worth every single penny. Once you have used Anastasia Beverley Hills eyeshadows, it's really hard to not use anything else after that. The only negative to these, it's not really, well, I don't find it a negative, but a lot of people commented on it on the Subculture palette, and that's that there is an awful lot of kickback and there is an awful lot of fallout. Now, from my own opinion of these eyeshadows, they're almost like this. They are the most intensely coloured eyeshadows you'll probably ever use, and I think they make that because they're almost like, when you see the kickback, it's so loose, it's almost like a pigment rather than an eyeshadow, if that makes sense. So the colour is so vivid, but you do get an awful lot of fallout. So when using this, I mean, today all I did to catch the eyeshadow as it fell out was pop a little bit of a translucent setting powder underneath my eye, and that works completely fine. If I was going to be doing a look that was super dark or super dramatic, I would probably just do my eyes first, clean up all the fallout, and then do my skin. So that's the only thing really that I would say is, as per the other palettes that she's released, this palette is exactly the same in terms of that. But the colours blend so beautifully together. I mean, you can see from my makeup now, they just look so cohesive and gorgeous, and it was really no effort at all when I was trying to blend them out. Sometimes with palettes, it can take a little bit of work to get them to blend in. I didn't have that problem at all today. So that for me is just made me love this so much, and I'm so excited to wear this. I know this is going to be like that palette which I just chuck in my bag and I just know I've got everything for whatever I want to do that day. And I feel like I could just sit here jabbering about this palette for ages, but instead I'm just going to get straight on with the next part of the video, which is me trying it for the first time and showing you how I got the makeup look which I'm wearing right now. So if you want to see my first impression and a review as I do my makeup look, then just keep on watching. So to start off with, I'm first going to use the shade here, which is called Burnt Orange. So for those of you wondering about kickback, I've just dipped my brush in there a couple of times in this one, and you can see it is really quite powdery. I think with all Anastasia palettes, they're all so heavily pigmented. They're almost like a loose pigment, but in a like eyeshadow form, like compact like into an eyeshadow. So when you use them, they do have a lot of kickback and a lot of fallout and things like that, but the pigment is just so intense. So don't be surprised when you use it that you are going to get a lot of kind of kickback when you use it, because that's just kind of how they're supposed to be. But anyway, I'm taking this burnt orange shade and I'm going to put it directly into my crease. I'm kind of just gonna do like an everyday glam, I think, because I feel like this is exactly what this palette has been designed for. So I'm just put that into my crease and then blending it out towards my brow bone. That is such a beautiful colour. What I've noticed with that is it's incredibly blendable, which is good news, and I wouldn't like expect anything less really. But we are very early on, so we'll see how we go. When I'm blending really light shades together, I like to take a clean brush. This is just a Primark one, and I like this because it's quite stiff, and I just use this to buff out the edges to keep it super soft as we go. I'm then just going to take this shade here, which is called Rustic, and this is a slightly more neutral brown. So I'm just gonna do exactly the same thing, but I'm gonna layer this over the top, just to build up that colour really. I think that would actually be a really pretty shade as like on its own for a smoky eye or something, because it's quite a neutrally brown. So many palettes just include these like really warm orangey browns, so that's nice that it's got that quite neutral brown in there. I'm then just going to take this colour here. So I was just reading it because I was like, oh my god, how do I say that? This shade here, and I think it's called, oh my god, it's called Cypress Umber. So it's this one here. So again, it's kind of like a neutral matte brown. So I'm going to take this on a slightly smaller brush. Oh, look how pigmented that is. I'm going to take this on a slightly smaller brush, and I'm going to concentrate this just on the outer corner. I am just going to pop a little bit of translucent powder underneath my eye, because as you just saw there, it had quite a lot of fallout. As you can see, I've only just put the tiniest bit on that outer portion, and it's just so pigmented. So what I like to do is I'll put down with one brush, and then I'll take the brush that I was blending with the lighter shades and buff it out with that. And this is just going to prevent you from taking that colour up too high, the darker colour. I feel like I'm already obsessed with this look. They've blended together so easy. Like, that has just made my job look like the easiest thing in the world. I feel like there's only one shade I can really use for the lid. So I'm gonna use this shade here, which is called Bronze, but it's not really a bronze. It's more of like a very antique gold, which I'm obsessed with. Oh my god. Oh dear. That's really nice. I feel like this is gonna have quite a lot of fallout. So I'm just using my finger instead of a brush, because that's how you're going to get the most pigment from it. And I'm going to pack that right on top. Oh my god, I know this is like my new favourite eyeshadow. The only thing which has confused me is why have they called it bronze? How beautiful is that? So then I'm just taking the brush we packed on the dark brown, and I'm just going to start blending that in so we get a little bit of a blend going on there. So I'm actually going to try and dust away a lot of that fallout, because I don't know if you can see, it has had really quite bad fallout. But as I said at the beginning, it's because of the texture of the shadows, because they're almost like a pressed pigment, you do just get bad fallout with them, so that's just something to keep in mind. I'm then just going to take the black shade from the palette, which is just called Noir, and it's just a really matte black, which just looks beautiful. And I'm going to take the tiniest bit on a little brush, and I'm going to rub this into the upper lash line. And I just like to do this instead of an eyeliner, because as pretty as eyeliner is, like liquid eyeliner I'm referring to now, as pretty as it is, it really doesn't suit a lot of eye shapes. So I prefer to do a very soft, blown out eyeshadow on the upper lid rather than a harsh liner. Just while I do under the lower lash line, I am just going to add a little bit more translucent powder. So I'm going to do pretty much the exact same thing as I did on the upper lash line, but this time I'm just going to use the brush which came with it. So I'm taking this end here, and I'm just going to take that burnt orange shade to begin with and just layer that down underneath the eye to act as our transition colour. And then I'm just taking a little bit of the shade Rustic, and I'm going over the top of that. Just mimicking what we did on the upper lash line. Then I'm going to take that tiny little brush we used for the black. I'm going to rub off the majority of the black, and I'm going to go in with that Cypress Umber, which was the dark matte brown. And I'm just going to line this really close to the waterline, just to give the eye a little bit more definition, but not bringing it too far down. And then I'm going to take this brush again and just gradually blend it all together, so it's all nice and cohesive. For my inner corner highlight, I'm going to take this shade here, which is called Glistening, and I'm just going to use a flat shader brush, and I'm going to wet it with a little bit of Fix Plus, and then put that, doesn't that smell so good? And I'm going to put that just in my inner corner here. For my brow bone highlight, I'm going to take this shade here, which is called Tempera, and this I actually think is in the Modern Renaissance palette, because I'm pretty much out of that now, because I use this all the time for brow bone highlight and to set my eye after I've used Painterly Paint Pot. So I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of this and run it just underneath my brow, just to make it kind of pop. Clean it up and make it pop. I'm actually loving the way this eyeshadow's come out. I think it looks super pretty, and it'll probably look even better when I've got the rest of my makeup on. So I'm just going to go off camera, finish the rest of my makeup, and then I will be right back. So I've just finished the rest of my makeup. As you can probably tell, I look a little bit more normal now. I absolutely love the way that this, sorry, I need to look in my little mirror here. I absolutely love the way that this turned out. And there are some other shades in the palette that are a little bit more rosy toned, like pinky tones. So I'd really like to try a tutorial using more like the pinky tones in there, because I think that'll look pretty, but I just think this is like so beautiful, and I'm gonna have to wear this for work tomorrow because I really loved how it turned out. It was just so easy. Like, it made soft glam so flippin' easy. So that is the end of today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching and for clicking on this one. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. And if there is any particular content that you want to see on this channel, please just leave me a comment down below and I will try and get it done for you. And as always, I always leave all my social media down below so you can go over and have a little look. I am always on Instagram and I blog and all that sort of good stuff, so I'll leave that all down below for you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.